Hi friends, it's Jess with Our Bipolar. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, just a little bit about me. I have bipolar 1 and I was diagnosed 26 years ago when I was a sophomore in college. Today, I'm going to talk about how I can sometimes stop hypomania in its tracks by paying attention to warning signs that it's about to start. But before we get into that, I will ask you to subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment, let me know your warning signs for hypomania, and if you have any success stopping it before it starts. Okay, just to start, I'm gonna go over what is hypomania. Maybe you have bipolar, maybe you don't. Maybe you're just here to learn, and that's great too. In terms of bipolar 1, to have bipolar 1, you have to have had full-on mania to be diagnosed, and I think it's for at least 7 straight days. But hypomania comes before mania. Mania is going to be more extreme. So hypomania, you're going to be feeling things like having increased energy, not needing as much sleep, probably having racing thoughts, that's a big one. Also, you might be like much more excited or happy than you usually are, or much more irritable, which I tend to go that way. Also, you might be really easily distracted. You could also have an inflated self-esteem and experiencing some grandiosity, increased talkativeness and just wanting to be around people more. But I always think of it for me as really that lack of sleep and not needing as much sleep as being like a telltale sign. So if these are the actual signs of hypomania, what are the warning signs? Well, they're going to be different for everyone. I'm going to give you some examples from my life. And I also want to say some people, bipolar I think is a spectrum. So some people do have it to lesser degrees than other or more degrees. I think once I got on medication that worked, and for me, that's been lithium and Seroquel. It does not work for everyone, so don't run out to your doctor and say you need to be on those drugs. But once I did get on meds that worked, I didn't go into mania as quickly. And I didn't go into even hypomania as quickly. I had like a longer time before actually hitting hypomania. And so I'm able to kind of pick out warning signs. Your warning signs could be similar or different. And maybe, like I said, maybe you just go straight up to hypomania and you don't have that time to kind of stop the hypomania from happening. And yeah, that sucks, but everyone is different. And there are lots of people like that too. Okay, so my warning signs, the number one thing is that my sleep starts becoming either disrupted, I'm getting less sleep. Usually I will wake up early in the morning, maybe just like an hour or so early. And that can happen without going into hypomania or about to. But if it happens for a few days in a row or like a week in a row where my sleep is really getting just broken or I'm waking up early, that's a big warning sign for hypomania. Also, this doesn't happen so much now, but when I was younger, my teeth would actually start tingling, and that's because I was clenching my jaw so much. That was a huge warning sign that I don't quite experience as much anymore. If I'm feeling super overwhelmed, it might mean hypomania is coming. Now, people can feel overwhelmed. It could have nothing to do with hypomania, but I know for me, and because I have bipolar, if that overwhelmed feeling becomes nearly unbearable, hypomania could easily be happening soon. Also, a big sign for me is just the time of year, because there are certain times of year when I go into hypomania much more often. For me, that could be in the spring, which is right now, and I'm actually feeling slightly heightened and my sleep has been a little disrupted lately. So there you go. Also for me, like the back to school time of year, even when I didn't have my daughter going back to school, just kind of remembering and like that feeling of anxiety I used to have can trigger hypomania. I also went into my first manic episode right after I had gone back to college for that sophomore year. So that's a time I really have to be cautious. Also the holidays. There's just a lot of extra stress around the holidays, and that can be a bad time of year for me with hypomania. Okay, so some other things. Maybe I'm just feeling much more social or just wanting to talk to people. Like I just want to pick up the phone and call friends or call family members. That can be a sign because I'm not really that social. Also, sometimes I'll get a song stuck in my head. I know a lot of people that happens all the time, but for me, if it's just one particular song and it's lasting a long time, like a week or even longer, that's not a good sign. And the last thing that I can think of right now, at least, is craving sweets more than I usually do. Now, I have a sweet tooth. I like sweets pretty much all the time, but if I just can't stop thinking about them and really wanting sugar, yeah, hypomania might be coming. Okay, so when these warning signs are hitting me in the face, there has to be more than one usually, but the sleeping part is crucial. If that happens, I don't care if anything else isn't happening. This is what I'm going to do. The very first thing I do is try to stop the hypomania from coming with medication. For me, I treat my Seroquel kind of as a rescue med in these cases, and I was told to do this by my doctor. Please do not change your meds in any way without speaking to your psychiatrist and getting the okay to do this. It's going to be different for everyone anyway, so please make sure you talk to your doctor. I am not a doctor. But what my psychiatrist has told me to do is to up my Seroquel, especially if I'm not sleeping well, and also if these other things are happening. So in my case, I up it usually in a very small amount by about a quarter of what I'm taking. Now, I take a very small amount already, so this may be different for you. But if I up that antipsychotic just a little, usually it will be enough to get my sleep back on track, and then all these other things can kind of settle down and go away. Now, that is not always enough. So what I will do from there, let's say I up the Seroquel, it's not really getting my sleep back on track. After, I don't know, 2-3 days, then I will go into hunker down mode, which is kind of what I call it. I will increase the Seroquel more. At this point, I'm going to be in contact with my doctor to make sure of how much more I should increase it. And then I will really retreat from a lot of things in my life. That means I may take time off work to just not have that extra stress going on, which could pop me into the hypomania. I will cancel plans if I have plans with friends or just any kind of commitment outside of the home, because that social interaction could be not so great for me at this point. I will also, this is not easy, but I will cut out all caffeine and all sugar. Now, maybe you already do that and you are healthier than me, but I do take in a little bit of caffeine each day, and I definitely take in sugar. I will cut those out because for me, once I'm close to hypomania, caffeine and sugar could push me into it. And also, I'm craving these types of things, especially sugar. So I need to really be careful about my intake. Also, in retreating, I will take a lot more alone time. I just need to be very calm and quiet, and I will still watch TV, things like that. Usually I will probably not listen to music. I'm just trying to have everything be calm on the outside to sort of calm me on the inside. Now, I have a very young daughter. Being around a child is usually not calm or quiet. So if I can't do that in my home, then I will usually leave and sometimes go to my parents' house. If I can't do that during the day, I will go to a park or something else that just is really tranquil and calm. If I can't really leave, you know, if my husband can't really take over all responsibilities for our daughter at that time, I will usually go in our basement. We have a room there where I can sort of go away and close the door, and there's a TV, so I can watch TV. But, you know, even watching TV, I'm gonna try to watch things that are much calmer, not too excitable. And also, this is not the time to get into invigorating conversations or long conversations with anyone. I'm not going to talk about politics or anything that might be upsetting or even exciting. I'm going to step away from all that. I probably won't be calling or texting friends as much. I try not to, because what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to stop mania before it starts. But if that's not possible, I want the mania, once I get in it fully, to not last as long as it might. So usually for me, hypomania will last at least a month. So yeah, and for you, it might be much less than that or much more. But for me, it's about a month is typical. So if I can reduce that to 3 weeks or even 2 weeks, even keep it to a month as opposed to 2 months, that is a huge win. So all of this is very much worth it to me, and I religiously kind of follow this script if I'm starting to feel that I'm close to hypomania. But tell me what you do. I mean, how do you try to either avoid hypomania or make it shorter? I would love to hear down in the comments. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.